What if I told you that the difference between those who dominate their field and those who struggle is not talent, not luck, not opportunity, and not hard work? What if I told you that the top 1%, the champions, the innovators, the leaders, the world shapers, operate on a completely different mental operating system than the rest of the world? They don't think like others. They don't process information like others. They don't respond to pressure like others. They don't collapse under fear like others. They don't negotiate with their limitations like others. They have cracked the code of human psychology. This audiobook reveals that code. By the time you reach the end, you will not simply learn how elite minds work, you will become one. Chapter 1. The psychology of peak performance. Every elite performer begins with one realization. Success is not about what you do. Success is about how you think. The average person believes performance comes from motivation, inspiration, talent, luck, external conditions, but elite performers understand a deeper truth. Performance is psychological. It begins in the mind long before it is expressed in the world. Your beliefs determine your behaviors. Your behaviors determine your habits. Your habits determine your results. Your results determine your identity. And your identity determines your destiny. The average performer lives outside in. The elite performer lives inside out. They engineer their inner world, their thoughts, emotions, and mental frameworks, so their performance becomes inevitable. They have mastered cognitive control, emotional stability, attentional precision, decision making framework, stress adaptation, resilience, under pressure, deep concentration, identity, alignment. Peak performance is not about trying harder. It is about building the mental architecture that makes success the only possible outcome. Chapter 2. The mental programming of elite thinkers. The second defining trait of elite performers is that they operate from a different mental program. Most people run on fear-based thinking, outdated beliefs, inconsistent focus, emotional reactivity, societal conditioning, short-term impulses. Their mind is in survival mode. The elite mind is in optimization mode. They train themselves to respond to challenge, adversity, rejection, stress, and uncertainty with clarity and strategic thinking. Where the average person asks, how can I avoid discomfort? What if I fail? What will people think? The elite performer asks, how can I grow from this? What is this teaching me? How do I use this advantage? Their mental programming transforms. Obstacles into opportunities, fear into fuel, stress into strength, pressure into performance, failure into data. They do not eliminate negative emotions. They override them with superior mental frameworks. This is not positive thinking. This is psychological engineering. Chapter 3. The brain rewired. Neuroplasticity and elite performance. Neuroscience reveals something extraordinary. Your brain physically changes based on the thoughts you think and the actions you repeat. Elite performers harness this mechanism, neuroplasticity, to build the neural architecture required for greatness. Every repetition strengthens a circuit. Every skill becomes faster through myelination. Every failure refines a pathway. Every challenge creates new connections. Every deliberate action reshapes the brain. This is why elite performers improve exponentially. They do not rely on talent. They rely on training the brain to perform automatically at higher and higher levels. The average person practices until they get it right. The elite practice until they can't get it wrong. Neuroplasticity is the reason. Champions stay champions, leaders become wiser, innovators push boundaries, artists evolve, experts deepen mastery. Your brain is not fixed. Your abilities are not fixed. Your potential is not fixed. You are rewiring yourself every day. The only question is whether you're doing it consciously or unconsciously. Elite performers rewire their mind with intention. Chapter 4. The relationship between discomfort and greatness. Elite performers understand a truth that most people spend their entire lives avoiding. Growth lives on the other side of discomfort. The average person avoids discomfort because it feels threatening. The elite person seeks discomfort because it feels transformational. To them, uncertainty equals expansion, challenge equals capability, fear equals opportunity, difficulty equals evolution, pressure, access to higher performance. When the average person encounters adversity, they contract. When the elite performer encounters adversity, they expand. They ask different questions. Instead of how can I escape this, they ask how can I grow from this. Instead of why is this happening to me, they ask what skill is this trying to teach me. Instead of how do I avoid pain, they ask how do I use pain as information. The elite know that comfort is seductive. Comfort is familiar. Comfort feels safe. But comfort kills progress. Discomfort is the gateway that transforms ordinary abilities into extraordinary capabilities. If your life is too comfortable, your potential is too small. Chapter 5. Cognitive flexibility. Thinking like an elite mind. What separates elite thinkers is not intelligence, it is mental fluidity. Most people are trapped inside one thinking pattern. They approach every problem the same way, use the same strategies, and rely on the same emotional reactions. Elite minds do not think in one mode. They switch mental frameworks instantly based on what the moment requires. This skill is called cognitive flexibility, and it allows elite performers to shift between analytical reasoning, creativity, emotional intelligence, pattern recognition, strategic forecasting, instinctive action, controlled aggression, calm problem solving. This makes them adaptable. It makes them unpredictable. It makes them unstoppable. When chaos hits, the average person panics because their single mental approach breaks. The elite person shifts gears. From logic to intuition, from speed to patience, from aggression to composure, from detail to big picture, from micro focus to macro strategy, they carry an entire arsenal of cognitive weapons. And they deploy the right one at the right moment. This is why elite performers thrive in environments where others collapse. They don't just think differently, they think dynamically. Chapter 6. The elite relationship with failure. Most people fear failure because they misunderstand it. To the average mind, failure equals personal judgment, failure equals identity threat, failure equals proof of inadequacy, failure equals reason to quit. To the elite mind, failure equals data, that's all. Failure is feedback. Failure is information. Failure is a compass. Failure is a correction tool. Failure is a psychological sharpening stone. Elite performers do not internalize failure. They analyze it. They break it down. What actually happened? Where exactly did the breakdown occur? What variable was misjudged? What skill needs refinement? What assumption was incorrect? What adjustment will fix it next time? They process failure through the prefrontal cortex, the rational brain, instead of the amygdala, the emotional brain. This is why they don't spiral, why they don't collapse, why they don't retreat. They use failure to refine performance until excellence becomes inevitable. The average person avoids failure. The elite person uses failure. That one difference creates two completely different destinies. Chapter 7. Deliberate practice. The secret training system of high performers. Practice does not create greatness. Deliberate practice does. The average person practices until they get it right. The elite person practices until they can't get it wrong. Elite performers train differently. Their practice is intentional, structured, repetitive feedback-driven, uncomfortable, precise analysis-based. They isolate micro skills. The angle of movement, the timing of execution, the speed of reaction, the accuracy of decision, the control of emotion, the efficiency of technique. Nothing is too small to refine. Nothing is too insignificant to master. Deliberate practice requires high concentration, immediate feedback, consistent challenge, refined correction, repeated iteration. This method builds neuroplasticity faster and strengthens neural wiring deeper than any other form of training. This is why elite performers improve exponentially while others stagnate. Deliberate practice is the path from competence, right arrow, mastery, mastery, right arrow, dominance, dominance, legacy. There is no shortcut. Only precision, only repetition, only commitment. This is the training philosophy that creates the minds that shape the world. Chapter 8. The Default Mode Network. Resting states of elite minds. Most people believe the brain is inactive when at rest, but neuroscience reveals the opposite. When you are not focused on a task, your brain enters a powerful state called the Default Mode Network, DMN. For the average person, the DMN becomes a playground for worry, self-doubt, negative rumination, emotional noise, internal chaos, repetitive, unproductive thoughts. Their unfocused mind drains them. But elite performers train their DMN into a state of relaxed awareness, a calm, open, intuitive mode that enhances creativity, problem-solving, pattern recognition, subconscious processing, emotional equilibrium. Their inner world is not loud. It is spacious. Their DMN becomes an engine of insight, not an amplifier of anxiety. This gives them an advantage others never see. While most people exhaust themselves with mental clutter, elite performers rest into clarity. Their idle mind is actually working for them. Chapter 9. The Power of Stress Inoculation. Stress is not the enemy of performance. Uncontrolled stress is. Elite performers do something the average person never thinks to do. They train under stress on purpose. This is known as stress inoculation, exposing yourself to controlled pressure so the nervous system becomes stronger, faster, calmer, more adaptable. Athletes simulate high-pressure moments. Executives rehearse crisis decisions. Soldiers drill chaotic scenarios. Performers practice in loud, unpredictable conditions. Why? Because the body and mind learn to say, "I've been here before." Stress becomes familiar. Pressure becomes manageable. Chaos becomes navigable. Fear becomes quiet. Challenge becomes energy. When the real moment arrives, their physiology does not betray them. They remain steady. They remain composed. They remain powerful. Stress does not overwhelm them, it activates them. This is how the elite prepare for moments the world calls impossible. Chapter 10. Attention residue and the science of deep focus. Most people believe distractions cost them seconds. But science reveals something far more dangerous. Every distraction leaves behind a residue that weakens your next action. This is called attention residue, the leftover mental friction from switching tasks. When the average person tries to work, their mind is fragmented. Notifications, unfinished tasks, emotional noise, digital overload, intrusive thoughts. But elite performers engineer focus like a weapon. They avoid task switching. They build environments for total concentration. They enter states of deep work where cognitive output multiplies. Their productivity is not higher because they work more. It is higher because their attention is pure. 1 hour of elite focus outperforms 5 hours of scattered effort. The mind becomes sharp, efficient, quiet, dangerous. This is the attention advantage, and it defines the gap between average output and world-class excellence. Chapter 11. Pressure Mastery. Dominating when it matters most. Pressure is the great divider. Some crumble under it. Some survive it. But elite performers thrive in it. Why? Because they transform pressure from a threat into a source of strength. When most people face pressure, their heart races, their breath shortens, their mind panics, their body tightens, their performance collapses, their system enters threat mode. Elite performers, however, enter the challenge response, a biological shift that enhances performance. Improved focus, strengthened memory, sharper reaction time, increased confidence, enhanced creativity, higher resilience. The difference lies in interpretation. The average person thinks, "This is too much." The elite thinker says, "This is what I trained for." Pressure becomes fuel. Stress becomes activation. Fear becomes focus. They view pressure as a privilege, a signal they're operating at a level where greatness is possible. And so, in moments that break others, they rise. When the lights are brightest, when the stakes are highest, when the expectations are heaviest, they perform better. This is the signature of elite minds. They are at their best when most people are at their worst. Chapter 12. Flow State. The neurological code of effortless excellence. There is a state of consciousness so powerful, so immersive, that elite performers spend their entire lives learning how to enter it at will. This state is known as flow. Flow is not luck. Flow is not random. Flow is not mystical. Flow is a neurobiological configuration where your brain unlocks peak performance. The prefrontal cortex, self-criticism, deactivates pattern recognition, intensifies time perception, shifts creativity, increases focus, becomes absolute execution, becomes effortless. Your mind and body merge into one unified system, acting with precision without hesitation. Flow feels like magic because it bypasses the mental resistance that normally slows performance. Elite performers engineer flow by controlling three elements. 1. Challenge skill balance. The task must stretch you but not break you. 2. Clear goals. Your mind needs direction to maintain hyper-focus. 3. Immediate feedback. Your brain adjusts in real time. They create the psychological and environmental conditions that activate flow instead of waiting for it to happen by accident. Flow is not an accident. Flow is engineered. Chapter 13. Unbreakable Resilience. The art of using adversity as fuel. Resilience is not enduring hardship. It is transforming hardship. Most people are fragile. They break under pressure. They lose motivation after failure. They collapse when life becomes unfair. Elite performers are anti-fragile. They gain strength from stress. Every adversity becomes raw material for growth. Setbacks sharpen strategy. Rejection increases hunger. Pressure strengthens composure. Failure refines skill. Pain expands capacity. They see challenges not as barriers but as building blocks. Their resilience is built through emotional regulation, perspective control, stress recovery, protocols, cognitive reframing, meaning-making systems. They don't just bounce back. They bounce forward stronger than before. The world admires their results but rarely understands the internal battles they conquered to get there. Resilience is not toughness. Resilience is mastery of self. Chapter 14. Optimization Obsession. The competitive edge of micro-improvement. There is a mindset that separates world-class performers from those who merely participate. The obsession with optimization. Elite performers are constantly refining. Their habits, their routines, their movement, their technique, their emotional responses, their decision making, their sleep, their nutrition, their environment, not in pursuit of perfection, but in pursuit of progress. They understand the mathematics of mastery. 1% improvement every day equals 37x improvement in 1 year. Small changes compound into massive transformation. Most people make big promises and take small action. Elite performers make small refinements that produce big outcomes. They ask questions like, how can I improve this by 1%? Where is the bottleneck? What is slowing me down? What can be eliminated? What habit is weakening performance? Optimization is not an event. It is a lifestyle. The elite are not interested in maintaining greatness. They are obsessed with multiplying it. Chapter 15. Emotional Sovereignty. Mastering the inner world. Elite performers have a relationship with their emotions that the average person cannot comprehend. They do not suppress emotions. They do not ignore emotions. They do not fear emotions. They master them. Most people are controlled by feelings. Anxiety stops them, stress distracts them, fear freezes them, frustration derails them, insecurity weakens them. But elite minds treat emotions as energy and information. They ask, what is this emotion trying to tell me? How can I use this energy productively? Which mental framework neutralizes this response? They develop emotional skills. Emotional granularity, real-time state regulation, reframing techniques, focus, redirection, recovery, rituals, pressure modulation. They do not wait for emotions to settle. They learn to operate above them. This is emotional sovereignty, the ability to lead your emotions instead of being led by them. It is one of the defining characteristics of elite human beings. Chapter 16. The Neurobiology of Mastery. How the brain builds. Elite skill. Elite performance is not a mystery. It is the predictable result of how the brain learns, adapts, and evolves. Your brain is not fixed. Your abilities are not fixed. Your talent is not fixed. Your brain rewires itself every time you train it. This process is driven by 1. Neuroplasticity, the rewiring of neural circuits. Every repetition strengthens a pathway. Every mistake refines a pattern. Every adjustment reshapes the brain. Elite performers intentionally reinforce the circuits that lead to excellence. 2. Myelination, the speed upgrade of skill circuits. The more a skill is executed with precision and focus, the more myelin wraps the neural pathway, increasing speed, accuracy, and consistency. This is why elite performers look effortless. Their circuits are optimized. 3. Dopamine, the chemical of progress. Dopamine is not pleasure. Dopamine is motivation, reinforcement, and learning. Elite minds derive dopamine from improvement, challenge, consistency, effort, refinement, small wins. This makes them self-sustaining machines. They don't rely on external validation. Their brain rewards them for progress. 4. The deliberate practice loop. Mastery follows a predictable sequence. Attempt, feedback, correction, repetition, integration. The average performer stops at attempt. The elite repeat the loop thousands of times until mastery is inevitable. Mastery is not a gift. Mastery is a neurological construction built through intentional repetition, purposeful challenge, and deep focus. Chapter 17. Performing under chaos. Staying sharp. When the world breaks, chaos is the ultimate filter of performance. Anyone can perform when life is calm. Only the elite can perform when life erupts. Chaos activates the amygdala in most people. Panic, fear, scattered thinking, emotional flooding, irrational decisions, but elite performers train themselves to activate the prefrontal cortex during chaos. Clarity, calm, strategy, high speed thinking, controlled intensity. The key difference is perception. The average person sees chaos as danger. The elite sees chaos as a call to rise. Their responses follow 3 rules. Rule 1, control physiology first: breath, posture, visual focus, micro movements. Calm the body, calm the mind. Rule 2, narrow focus. What must I solve right now? Chaos becomes manageable when simplified into priorities. Rule 3, act from principles, not panic. Elite performers have pre-built strategies, protocols, mental models. This allows them to make decisions even when emotions try to take over. Chaos does not break elite performers. Chaos reveals them. Chapter 18, The Discipline of Consistency. Winning long after motivation. DIES consistency is the greatest superpower in human performance. Not talent, not intelligence, not timing, not luck. Consistency. Most people start strong and fade quickly. Elite performers start strong, but more importantly, they stay strong. They understand. Motivation is unreliable, emotion is inconsistent, inspiration is temporary, so they build systems that guarantee action even on days they feel nothing. This includes 1. Activation rituals, automatic behaviors that trigger performance mode. 2. Non-negotiable habits, actions tied to identity, not mood. 3. Micro wins, small steps that generate momentum. 4. Environmental design, structures that make success easier and failure harder. 5. Momentum loops, progress, right arrow, dopamine, right arrow, motivation, right arrow, more progress. Consistency compounds. Consistency multiplies. Consistency transforms. The elite do not rely on motivation. The elite rely on identity. I'm the kind of person who shows up. This one belief creates a life others cannot match. Chapter 19, Designing a High-Performance Life. The architecture of greatness. Elite performers don't create excellence by accident. They build it through systems, structures, routines, and environments designed for peak output. Most people live reactively. The elite live architecturally. They design their life across 3 pillars. 1. Identity. Who I am determines what I do. Elite performers begin with identity construction. They don't say, I hope I become disciplined. I hope I get better. They say, I am the kind of person who performs at the highest level. Identity precedes action. Action reinforces identity. This loop builds unstoppable consistency. 2. Systems. My habits carry me further than my motivation ever could. Motivation is unreliable. Systems are not. Elite performers build routines that automate. Training, recovery, focus, reflection, execution, deep work, emotional regulation. Every day becomes a repeatable formula for excellence. Their life is engineered for success to happen naturally. 3. Environment. My surroundings support greatness. Environment is a silent force that shapes behavior more powerfully than willpower. Elite performers eliminate friction. Fewer distractions, fewer decisions, fewer temptations, fewer interruptions, and they amplify performance triggers. Designated focus areas, clean workspaces, routine cues, minimal clutter, optimized lighting, sound, and layout. When the environment is aligned with identity and systems, success becomes the default outcome. A high-performance life is not built in one day. It is built daily. Chapter 20, The Elite Mind Blueprint. Becoming your highest self. After all the science, the psychology, the strategies, the lessons, one truth remains. The elite mind is a creation, a construction, a deliberate act of self-engineering. You have learned how elite thinkers process reality, how they build focus, how they dominate pressure, how they recover, how they train, how they learn, how they lead, how they innovate, how they transform failure, how they regulate emotion, how they design their lives, how they build identities, how they unlock flow, how they achieve mastery. But this knowledge is not the transformation. The transformation happens when you begin to practice what you now understand. Elite performers are not people who know more. They are people who do more with what they know. They close the gap between knowing right arrow, doing right arrow, becoming, and ultimately becoming, leading the final shift. From learning to living, the final question is, will you remain a consumer or will you become a creator of your own excellence? The elite do not wait for the right moment. They create the moment. They do not hope for success. They engineer success. They do not desire greatness. They become greatness. Greatness is not found in intensity but in consistency. Not in talent but in discipline. Not in opportunity but in identity. Not in comfort but in discomfort. Not in theory but in action. You now possess the blueprint. The only thing left is to live it. Your elite mind is not ahead of you. It is within you, waiting to be built, one decision, one habit, one day at a time. Thank you for listening to this complete audiobook journey into the psychology of peak performance. If this audiobook shifted your mindset, if it strengthened your discipline, if it helped you understand what it truly takes to think and perform like the elite, then please support the channel. Subscribe, like, share this audiobook with someone who needs it. Comment your thoughts and favorite chapter. Your support allows us to bring you more deep, powerful content that teaches you not just how to succeed, but how to transform into your highest self. You've been listening on Listen Audiobook, where knowledge becomes power and power becomes action. Thank you for being here. Your journey into greatness has only just begun.